far. Liquid, they've done well here in this regional, but a big win over Endpoint is needed to convince a lot of fans that Liquid's back.
Yeah, and a lot of us are shaky about that previous series for Team Liquid against Wu, which obviously none of us expected. But then even looking at the stats, Team Liquid in the first 2 games had 15 shots and 0 goals. They had the most boost stolen. They were inflicting the most demos. It all just comes down to the striking. The defense is there. You can see it on the field right now. Speed getting the save. Roniki now up early to stop the shot. Everything so far for these boys has been connecting except for the finishing shot.
It could be there right now for Virtuoso. Relating wave, Endpoint all over Liquid in the beginning moments of this game. And Turtle talking about the other side now for Endpoint. I would say probably one of the more exciting teams to watch here on the European side. And it's more because their games have just turned into chaos at some points. And it's because of Virtuoso and his ability on the field here as he gets the first goal.
Yeah, and you talk about chaos. This man loves creating chaos, but that actually started with Relating Wave's double tap, getting the read on that dunk and finding its way over to Virtuoso, who, like you mentioned, always taking boost, going for demos, and being the most forward player out of everybody on Endpoint. And Regional 3s, Corelli, I don't know what it is. I mean, everybody even on Endpoint had agreed. Something about Regional 3 for these guys is special for them. If you remember back to the previous fall split, Regional 3 was Endpoint's best performance by far. They made it to the grand finals, lost, I believe it was 2-4 against Vitality. So we'll see if they can repeat that same showing and maybe make a run all the way to the grand finals.
They are one of the tougher teams to beat in Europe. And right now they're sitting up 1-0. Relating wave into the midfield. Does get the dunk to the other side. Speed there to meet it. Doesn't make contact and instead chases out Virtuoso, but that leaves room for Relating wave. Here he comes looking for the back wall. Virtuoso trying to keep this play on the orange side, and Fruity will pick it up in the midfield. Now on the dribble. Great control from Fruity to make Betsonaris think about it. As Relating wave. Big clear back the other way. Still a 1-0 lead now for Endpoint.
I like the idea of Fruity being there. He's being aggressive. And also we saw the controlled approach earlier on. This is a different Team Liquid. You can tell they have more of an understanding of where their teammates are, trying to find each other with the clears, which normally we didn't see. Speed taking the slower approach yet again. Some good dribbles and patient approach from Team Liquid. Still waiting on the shot that's going to hit the net though, Corelli.
Here comes Virtuoso. Did pick that one up the way we thought and gives it up to Speed, who throws it downfield. A lot of field switching right now, just going from one side to the other. Both teams really not holding on to control for too long. Here's Roniki trying to change things. Didn't have a lot of boost to work with, and Virtuoso in pursuit. Gets some help from Relating wave. Fruity, great clear from the corner, and after that first minute or so and giving up the first goal from Liquid, the clears have been a lot better. They're able to get a hold of the ball and move out from their side in a more efficient fashion to not let Endpoint clamp down on Liquid inside their box especially. Yeah, here comes a long clear from Roniki as well, but it's met by Virtuoso.
He's also been more cautious of his own boost, I think. I've been paying attention, a lot to their own corner boost, but this one off the crossbar, I thought it was just gonna slip in, and there was even a little pause from the defender. I believe it was Roniki rotating back, and Fruity was the one who just stopped. I think he assumed it was going in as well.
And I guess it was too late in Fruity's eyes to get up and get to that ball before it came down to the ground, and he was going to play it as it came off the post or maybe bounced past the post. He had 54 boosts to work with, but just didn't get to it. And of course, Endpoint, they live in those types of moments where they can just crash the net. They're so good at it. And one bounce is all it takes for Endpoint to come down again in a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, and it's none other than Virtuoso, who is ready to take advantage of an awkward situation. You see him here being so aggressive, looking for a demo, but Speed took him out. Now maybe a chance for a counterattack. Team Liquid, while the scoreline doesn't bode well for them, I think they've been performing relatively well here. Maybe off the backboard you get a double tap. No, Free doesn't have the boost. Still looking for their first goal as Team Liquid.
They've been backed up, having to make 6 saves so far, Liquid has in this game. The final minute in game 1. 9 shots for Endpoint, and a lot of those came early on in the game before the first goal. They're looking to tack on a few more and maybe get a third to close out game 1. Roniki can't get to the ball. That was a great pass down. And nobody from Endpoint can catch up. Speed trying to turn the tide for his team late. Can't get by Virtuoso on the near post. Still Ronicky fighting for it. Fruity there to help. Can Liquid find a way through the defense? It's relating Wave to clear that one out.
Things look so solid for Team Liquid as they're transitioning out. Speed was going for a little solo dribble, managed to get a demo, but then couldn't find a better 50. Ronicky even outpaces Metza in the midfield, but nothing too much to follow it up. It's like Team Liquid do a great job of getting out of their own half, but the plan ends there and they can't continue forward.
And that's credit to the Endpoint third man and that last line of defense. They have been rock solid and making sure that even with Liquid being efficient moving downfield, they have just had nothing on target, and it will be Endpoint taking game one.
And Gibbs mentioned it. I believe Endpoint are on a 4-series win streak against Team Liquid, so they definitely have the mental confidence going into this matchup. And just the fact that Endpoint are here is amazing in and of itself, Corelli. I mean, they're in this position because of a 0-second goal off of a whiff versus Solary. That's just incredible to make it this far, and they're going to make use of it. You know they will. They're happy to go up against Team Liquid, and both these teams haven't even made it past losers round 3 so far. So either way, we're getting some progress from either Endpoint or Team Liquid so far.
Yeah, and I think for Endpoint, we don't even really see them here in their final form in game one against Liquid, and I think it was a very solid game for them. The game plan that they always come in with, I still think was working, and they were able to crash the net a lot of times. Virtuoso was in the mix. Relating Wave has really become a big star on this team, and more as we see Endpoint play, he's become bigger and bigger. He's become a bigger proponent of the offense as well, and Metzenaris has always been able to lock things down for Endpoint as well. So when it comes to that game one, I think it's a solid performance by Endpoint. Maybe not the worst performance from Liquid, but of course going down 2-0 and not being able to put one away is a bit scary if you're a Liquid fan. And see how they can fare here in game two.
It kind of crumbled a little bit. I think that one massive clear that Virtuoso was able to finish off was not the best sign of how they were rotating, but overall, I still wasn't too disappointed with what I saw out of Liquid. Moving forward, and you even talked about Relating Wave, I think he's a huge factor here, and he has been more aggressive so far in this series. We even saw him off the backboard, which is something unusual. We don't see him be that aggressive. He likes to be that third man kind of weight in rotation, but coming out here with strong aggression and big clears as Virtuoso gets a demo, and they keep possession in the Team Liquid half still in game two.
It's just how game one started. It's all Endpoint. That's a great second touch from Metzenaris, and Fruity just has to knock it away, and it was to space over to Ronicky, and Liquid are able to get out, but not without some scary moments. Only one shot generated for Endpoint, but still Liquid backed up once again on their goal line. Now on offense, here's Ronicky. He can't get the second touch, and all of Endpoint wrapped around this ball. It's tough for Speed to get in. He picks his moment. That shot turned away. Fruity wanted to put it back in the box, and Relating Wave gives it over to Speed. Fruity gets a bump, and Relating Wave still on the ball. A lot of balls being thrown into the Endpoint box, but no one there from Liquid to put the shot away.
It's not threatening whatsoever. I mean, Liquid, they look so good on the transition. Then when they get on the offensive half, there's really nothing to show. Speed goes into their corner, takes the boost, but leaves empty-handed. Now a double commit on defense. Still the defense crumbling a bit out of Team Liquid. Fruity misses the clear. This is just a couple of off mechanics as Team Liquid seem to be still struggling out here in game two.
Bit wonky coming out from Liquid here in game two, but still a tie game. Preventing the shots so far. Here's Virtuoso, 40 boosts to work with. He'll go up, looking for a flip reset. Does get it. Dunks it by Speed. Relating Wave out to Metzenaris. He had to go for the challenge. Speed was there. Now Ronicky, boost to work with. Looking to take it himself. Does pop it over Relating Wave. But again, so direct from Team Liquid and not so threatening. Speed wanted to go off the ceiling, and yet still Endpoint able to come out with the ball.
Yeah, I mean, Team Liquid, they love throwing one player forward to see what he can do, maybe get a 1v2, but nobody wants to follow it up. And we talked about this player earlier on, Relating Wave is the guy that needs to make an impact and step up, because Virtuoso is going to be aggressive, be annoying. Metzenaris obviously fills in where he can, but Relating Wave, when he pops off, this Endpoint roster looks so unbeatable.
Yeah, and a great shot from him as Endpoint do get one to fall here. They've had most of the offense here. As Liquid still trying to find their footing here in this series. They are able to push down the field quite a bit. Still not able to put in too dangerous of chances.
Yeah.
Oh, great tackle from Virtuoso. Relating Wave might have had two if he didn't get bumped away. Metzenaris to keep the play alive. Virtuoso, a second touch off the back wall. And Fruity just has to scoot it by his goal line. Played still by Metzenaris as Liquid struggling to break out with possession. That looked broken up at the midfield line. Ronicky now, does he have a flip? He did. Metzenaris, good challenge. Fruity, he wants another. It's met by Relating Wave. And still, in a tight game, Liquid finding opportunity. Not able to put it on target quite yet. Oh, a big dunk for Virtuoso. He just goes, and a 2-0 lead for Endpoint.
And look at Relating Wave. All that started with his speed in the midfield to toss that into the corner. He gave Virtuoso a chance there to get a tight angle shot on net, and he hit it. All starting with that huge clear cross. Virtuoso is always in position to take advantage of those plays. And if we look on the other side, Team Liquid, where is that one player like Virtuoso that is waiting, anticipating for an opportunity? It seems like none of them want to push forward, and instead they all just want to play that passive approach, waiting for a mistake to come out, but nobody's ready to capitalize when it does.
Yeah, the exact opposite of passive is Virtuoso. He had no boost going to that challenge as well. He was...
Yeah, why is he there? We don't know, but it's good.
He was ready to go, and here he is again off the back wall. Virtuoso with his second goal, his team up by 3.
I seriously think we need to start looking at Virtuoso's positional awareness. It is fantastic. This man knows where to be 90% of the time and exactly how challenges from his teammates are going to end up. It's incredible, and I really think he deserves more respect in that regard for this game. Single-handedly, in my opinion, taking game 2 in favor of Endpoint, and he's still doing work in the midfield. Virtuoso, even in that game 5, I believe it was, against Solar, he had 7 saves, so this man can do it all.
Yeah, if you're a fan and you want to know what we're talking about, go ahead and get some Endpoint replays and just put the cam on Virtuoso. Yeah. The man is just zooming around the field, yet somehow still stays in position and is ready for anything thrown at him while chasing players on the other team. It's quite interesting gameplay, and it works. And it has worked for a long time for him. Here's Liquid. Ooh. They're going to get one back with 25 seconds left.
They're ready to strike. This is a good look. It's Ronicky. In the previous series against Team Wu, it took him up until game 3, I believe it was, to get 4 goals. So now coming out here, this could be the start. You don't want to let that player get warmed up if you're on Endpoint. That's the one threatening I guess, situation you could fall into if you're Endpoint is when Ronicky starts hitting every single shot.
And Liquid do find their first here. And maybe looking for a second. Speed doesn't get the second touch. Dangerous ball as Virtuoso forced to just pop it with 10 seconds left. Liquid are just going to need to score with some time, but that's a great clear to space from Virtuoso. Had no boost, but that won't matter. Ronicky can't get it into the net, and Endpoint take a second game and put Liquid on match point.
Yeah, this is incredible. I mean, truly from Virtuoso, I was watching his perspective for, I believe, the last half of that game. He almost never goes all the way back to get a full corner boost. It's like he wants to stay in rotation 24/7, which is great. It's a fantastic sign. He's picking up pads if there's no corner boost on his own half. He decides, instead of waiting all the way back, letting his teammates go up, he's going to stay aggressive, take a couple pads, get back in rotation, and be ready for a shot. A lot of these hits that he was making in this game were on maybe 10 or even 0 boost, but the fact that he's still there, ready to get a play and put the ball towards the opposition's net, that's exactly what you want from him. And Team Liquid, they need to have somebody who plays exactly like that if they want to have a chance here.
Yeah, you know, when you mentioned passive, I mentioned the inverse of that, but it has been passive from Liquid here in this game, especially in this last game, in game 2, because it felt like they actually had a lot more freedom to move downfield. But then when you look at the shots and the chances that they had, they were very, very weak. Endpoint were never stressed about the situation when it came to Liquid's offense. So I do think it needs to be a bit more aggressive, because they are able to hang on and kind of weather the storm that Endpoint put on, but they just don't match it with that offensive firepower that you would expect from a Liquid team with the players that they have. You have someone like Ronicky, we mentioned over and over again, but even players like Speed and Fruity, they have the ability to put the ball away when given the chance, and really, we haven't seen much of a chance from any of them.
Yeah, and even whenever they're not on full boost, they still have great mechanics and, you know, a potential to put a threatening shot on the net. So instead of having Speed or Fruity go into the other half and take their boost, maybe try to focus on getting back in rotation a bit sooner. That could lead to some great results. But either way, we've got match point, and we've got Relating Wave starting off strong for Endpoint.
Oh my. Oh my. Gets the wave dashes onto the ceiling, gets the flip back, of course, to catch up to the ball.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That is clinical from Relating Wave, and you can see what that type of play, that type of mechanic gets you. You beat that first defender, and you get it by, it throws off the rest of the defense and into the back of the net. Great work from Relating Wave, and a 1-0 lead early on from Endpoint.
That was just such a morale booster as well. I mean, you come out into match point, you're worried a little bit about some reverse sweeps. We just saw one with Oxygen in the previous series. Virtuoso wants to prevent any possibility of letting that reverse sweep happen, and he's up early in the air to get the second one.
He knew exactly what was going to happen, and you could tell it was quite easy to read. Both players from Team Liquid were sitting in net. They were nowhere near able to get up to that ball. And
oh my God. Did you see Virtuoso on the kickoff?
And he just goes and gets the demo.
He didn't care. What is he doing?
How does he do it? He's a magician on the field.
Look at him. Look at him. He has no boost. Why are you going forward, Virtuoso? It still is good, but it doesn't make any sense. He just got a demo off the kickoff. A normal player would rotate all the way back or go for a midfield boost. Virtuoso, nah. He doesn't let his finger off of accelerate, moves forward, and still gets a goal.
The man has no brakes. He never stops.
It's insane.
And it pays off more often than not for him. He somehow makes it work. A magician on the field making players disappear. As Fruity wants to put this one on target.
Mark, you understand what's happening? This is crazy.
1 minute in, and Endpoint up 3-0. And here comes Virtuoso again, wants to pick it up and couldn't. It was a bit too low, and now Liquid, they have a lot of time to get back into this one, and sure, it's a huge deficit, but it's now or never. Relating Wave looking for a 4, then he might get it. It's just gonna go wide. Here's Speed on the dribble. Can't get by Virtuoso, and again, that last man so strong from Endpoint. Relating Wave, does he have a second touch? He does, back post, and it's turned away by Fruity Betsinaris. He wants a piece of the defense as he can't get the second touch. Virtuoso is going to muscle his way through the defense.
Oh my.
Relating Wave, can he put it by? It's up for grabs in Speed. Will touch it away, picked up by Virtuoso again. A good clear from Fruity, but only to Betsinaris, still Endpoint. Clamping down on the Liquid defense. Everything is working. The challenge is going in favor of Endpoint. They're just looking for that final shot to put it away, and it could be Virtuoso off the crossbar. And he still couldn't put it away. Liquid able to hold on, but they're still down by 3.
Man, that was some perfect timing of that flip, and he gets another piece of the ball. Virtuoso a bit upset he didn't get the flashy play, but check out this shot. Nice touch from Metza out into the midfield. It's a difficult angle, but Virtuoso makes it look rather easy, Corelli.
And looking at the scoreboard, it's quite funny. Virtuoso with 550 points, Relating Wave with 400. Betsinaris with 84.
We haven't even said his name. I think this whole game, Metza.
They don't need him.
Once or twice.
They don't need him right now. Betsinaris is a fantastic player, but right now, Relating Wave and Virtuoso are 2v3ing Liquid. Betsinaris just is sitting back in the midfield saying, hey guys, call me if you need me.
Oh my goodness. And then they're trying to clear this ball out, but nothing's working. This is absolute chaos. Look at Virtuoso in the corner. It's like they don't have a rotation going back, but Team Liquid aren't ready to capitalize. All 3 players from Endpoint are in the same spot, Corelli. All of them.
We talked about this earlier, Turtle. We said chaos is what Endpoint brings, and when they get that chaotic play inside your box, you're doomed, and you're seeing it. The last 2-3 goals, it has been torture for Team Liquid to get out from their side. It's exactly where Endpoint wants the opposition, and boy, do they thrive in situations like this.
And normally, I'm such a big fan of this controlled style where a team will try to dribble out of their own half more on the transition game and take things slower because it can be so effective. But against players like Virtuoso, where they barely rotate back to get full boost and instead want to get up to that challenge as early as possible, that slow dribble style isn't going to work. Virtuoso may be going for a dribble of his own, a couple of mind games here and there, but it's not effective from Team Liquid. They can't even get out of their own half. And, you know, in the first 2 games, I thought they didn't look too bad, and things were definitely hopeful for them. But as of late, it has just been destruction by Endpoint.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to put it. It didn't look too bad in the first couple of games, but now you're really seeing, you know, I also said we didn't really see Endpoint in their final form. This is Endpoint in their final form.
Yeah.
What you're seeing in this game, and especially in the first, I don't know, 2-3 minutes of it, is absolutely what Endpoint brings to the table when they're feeling it. And right now, they are feeling it. 6-0 is the scoreline, and Endpoint are in command.
Yep. And they're not scared to push everybody forward. Pay attention to all of their positioning. The relating wave coming in as the 3rd man. 2 players are on the goal line from Endpoint. They are so risky with their positioning, but they always make it at the right decision. You know, sometimes they'll be able to get back, and we haven't even seen them overextend yet. Add another one to the Endpoint scoreline. Make it 7. At this point, you want to give Team Liquid a free goal. Get the Brazil. Why not, Corelli?
I think Virtuoso has gotten a demo off the kickoff in the last 3 or 4 of them. It seems like he gets a piece of a Liquid player. It is 16 shots for Endpoint here. They've put away 7. It has been a brilliant game from Endpoint.
That was like the most virtuoso goal I've ever seen earlier on. Remember whenever he got the demo off the kickoff and then turned in rotation instead of getting boost and just went forward and got a goal? That's exactly what this man does. He just understands a lot of these situations better than anybody else and knows that even if he has no boost, he can make a play.
And he certainly makes the play in most cases. And now here he goes again. He wants a piece of speed. His speed does get knocked out of the way in the end. Relating wave will see what he can do with it. Off the ceiling again. It's going to go in off the challenge.
My goodness.
Relating wave puts away his 3rd. And an 8-0 scoreline.
The wave dash. The wave dash on the ceiling to the 50 off of the ceiling to go into the net. Endpoint are unstoppable so far. 18 shots to Liquid's 2. Corelli, this is so one-sided.
It is. I'm lost for words.
That's it.
What we're seeing from Endpoint.
It is one-sided. That's all there is to say, really.
And they might get another Virtuoso, try to force it through. And for Team Liquid, being shut out in this game.
Yeah.
Losing 8-0 and down 3 goals in less than a minute. It hurts to watch for Liquid. They came in and doing so well, but it's been all Endpoint in this matchup. It has been a shellacking from Endpoint in this final game, and they deserve to move on.
Regional 3 is up for the taking of Endpoint. I think it always comes down to this. You know, Regional 1, Regional 2, Endpoint definitely did not look that hot, but then it's the similar pattern that we saw in the first split. When it comes to Regional 3, Endpoint always step up their game. And it started off with a 0-second goal that they got. They weren't supposed to be here, Corelli, but they're still looking solid. And this was probably one of the scariest performances we've seen from them. Not the best out of Liquid, but Endpoint. They starved him on the boost game. They were winning every single challenge, and they had the mechanics. The wave dashes off the ceiling from Relating Wave. Metzanaris didn't really do much, but that's not to roast him. He just didn't have to do anything.
He didn't have to.
Yeah.
Endpoint were that good. And for Relating Wave and Virtuoso, up 20 shots there in that last game. 8-0 victory, 3-0 sweep for Endpoint. We've got more European Rocket League coming up after the break.